Majina yangu naitwa Simon Wanyuike Wanango. Mimi ni MCA wa Nakuru Ward. Na kuhusu haya maneno ya degree, mimi nasema nilichaguliwa mara ya kwanza na 2007 nikiwa councillor. Na wakati ule sikuwa na degree, nilikuwa na diploma peke yake. Na kupitia uongozi wangu mwema nikiwa na diploma, watu walinichagua tena 2013. Hata kama nilirudi shule na nikapata degree, ninasema degree sio uongozi. Uongozi unatokana na mtu na ni kipawa. Tuseme degree ni kipawa, uongozi ni kipawa na inategemea na mtu. Unaweza kuwa na degree na huna uongozi ndani yako. Tuko na wengi, tumeona wengi wako na madegree, lakini ukienda mashinani hakuna kitu wanajua. Maoni yangu, wacha aliye na degree, aliye na diploma, aliye na certificate ya form 4, yule hana, as long as you can express yourself, you can articulate issues, wacha mtu achaguliwe, watu waamue.
My name is Michael Mashembu Shege, MCA representing Dodori Ward. And I want to ventilate into this discussion about whether the MCA should have a degree or not. I want to say that I am one of the greatest supporters, and I agree with the law, because that is what the Constitution is saying, that all MCAs and all elected leaders, that is member of parliament, member of county assembly, all those that is we call them the governors, the county reps in terms of women rep, and also senators, all of them should have a degree. The short time that I have studied in politics, I have realized that politics need also papers, because it is not a dumping place for all kind of people. And I believe that the work that is being done in terms of oversight, legislation, and also representation equally requires academic qualification. And most of the work that members of parliament do is actually making laws. And when you are making these laws, if you don't have the academic background, then it becomes very difficult to come up with concrete laws and that are recognized internationally, concrete ideas that are universally accepted, concrete ideas that can stand the time, that is for posterity. And therefore, I believe what the debate that is going on is that all representatives, starting from the members of county assembly, the MCAs, up to the president, all of them should have at least one degree. And this one will encourage our community to endeavor and also invest in education. We have been telling our children that they need to learn, they need to go to school, they need to pass exam, they need to be academically proper. And yet, when it comes to leadership, we are saying that we don't need education. That is not a good thing. It's not a good example. So if we start talking of academic, start from class 1 nursery up to the highest office in the land, that is the president's office. And therefore, I can simply say that's a good debate, and it's a debate that will take Kenya to another level in terms of intellectuality, in terms of implementation of the things that are supposed to be done in this particular country.
Asante sana. Kwa majina naitwa George Kiere, MCA kutoka pale Njoro Kehingo Ward. Na kwa maoni yangu kuhusu hii mambo ya degree, mimi na support venye IEBC imesema kuwa wale watu wote wenye wanawania kiti cha MCA, cha ubunge, cha senate na cha president wawe na degree. Sababu kubwa ya kusema hivyo ni kuwa sisi kama MCAs tunahitajiwa tukuje katika bunge ili tuweze kufanya registrations, ili tuweze kufanya oversight, ili tuweze kufanya representation. Na kama mtu hajasoma, atawezaje kufanya hayo maneno? Kila kitu inaenda na wakati wake. Na huu wakati sasa imefika, tumesomesha watoto wetu. Ile sababu tunaambia watoto wetu wasome, tunatumia pesa za basari kuwapee. Kama county tunatumia a lot of money kupeana basari ili wanafunzi wetu wasome. Kwa nini tunataka wasome alafu hatutaki wasome ili waweze kufika kiwango ambacho wanaweza wania viti kama hivi? Mimi nina support kuwa watu wote wenye watawania viti wawe na degree.
I'm Gadari Kamano MCA Maela Ward. Maela is in Naivasha Sub-County, Nakuru County. And on the issue of degrees to all aspirants, right from the MCA to the President, that is a requirement currently as per the enacted law. I'm in support of it, but I also look at it from a broader perspective, because I ask myself, how many children from poor families can access education right from the ECD to the university level? Has the field been leveled in terms of academic infrastructure in this country? Some areas are more advantaged than others. So children from poor background possibly haven't accessed basic education. So it is an idea that whose time has come due to challenges that are enormous in the universe and the globe. But we also need to consider several factors. One, our country has some areas that has lagged behind for long, areas that were marginalized, areas that were discriminated. How many academic institutions have been established by the government of the day? So at least so that we can consider, we can have at least in our region, we have several universities, we have higher education institutions, but in other areas, it is a challenge to access a university. Even some areas, let's say some are doing it through the internet. That is, some are learning, even far distance learning. But in essence, even some areas have challenge of connectivity. Also, power supply is a problem. So as we look at the dynamism, we also need to consider that we have poor families whose kids have a leadership themselves, but if it comes to papers, to academic papers, they were not advantaged. So at least for now we can, if I'm asked, though I'm qualified and other colleagues are qualified in the current assembly and also in the National Assembly and Senate, let the field be levelized and be open to everyone. We have leaders who have wisdom. In essence, we have other areas where clans sit down and identify their leaders, not even considering the academic qualifications. Though it's good due to the role that we play, and especially in the county assemblies, the Senate and National Assembly, the role of oversight, legislation and representation. On the two roles of legislation and oversight, at least we need people or leaders who are well equipped and well versed, who can scrutinize documents to ensure that the role of representation is well articulated and we achieve the best, so that at least can also have value for the resources that do trickle from the national level to the grassroots level. So in essence, let's consider every corner of this country to see whether we have a level playing ground for everyone.
Kwa majina naitwa Wilbur Nyango Amara. Ni mwakilishi wa wodi ya Kivumbini. Kivumbini iko Nakuru East. Nakuru East iko na wadi 5 ambapo moja wao ni Kivumbini. Na ningependa kuchangia mjadala huu wa mambo ya degree. Mimi kwa maoni yangu, sio lazima uwe na degree ndio uwe kiongozi. Tumeona viongozi wengi ambao they are all competent but they don't have degree. But the truth is papers also matter. Pande yangu, kwa sababu hii ni katiba na ilipitishwa 2011, ilipitishwa na wakati huo members of parliament waliweza kuidefer mpaka 2022. So sioni ubaya ilikuwa implemented sasa, kwa sababu sisi wote ni wanasheria na tunataka sheria ikuwe implemented zote ambazo zimepitishwa, na moja ya sheria ilikuwa ni degree. Kwa hivyo ukiniuliza mimi, maoni yangu, ningependa members of county assembly wote wawe na degree, na hata sio members of county assembly peke yake, pia members of parliament, ndio tuwe upia na usawa katika utendaji kazi.
Jina langu ni Philip Njohi Nderito, MCA Dare Ward. Njoro sub-county. On the issue of degree, I think it's also good for MCAs and any other leaders to have degree. Kwa sababu katika county assembly, kuna kitu tunaita standing orders, kuna kitu tunaita speakers rules, kuna kitu tunaita bills, kuna acts. In order for you to be able to interpret those bills and acts and speakers orders and all that, unastahili kuwa na masomo. Si lazima ukuwe wakili. Kwa hivyo mimi ningesema ya kwamba ni vizuri watu wawe na degree ambayo wanaweza kuinterpret mambo. Lakini hata hivyo ninaposema, si kusema ya kwamba wale ambao hawana degree they cannot make good leaders. Kwa sababu leadership qualities, they are inborn. Na watu wanazaliwa na inborn qualities. We have people like David, even in the Bible, people na Solomon, they were good leaders. But however, mimi support ya kwamba watu wawe na degree, lakini pia watu waangalie mtu ambaye ana degree na ana wisdom ya kutafutia watu yake. Because at the end of the day, rectorates are not interested in the number of degrees you have, the amount of English that you can speak. They are interested in knowing wapi barabara, wapi maji, wapi stima, wapi shule. That is the most interesting part to me. So ningesema ya kwamba watu waangalie mtu ambaye ako na degree, lakini pia akuwe ni mtu ambaye ana maono, ambaye anaweza saidia watu yake katika ward ama katika constituency.
My name is Mary Wanjiru Waiganjo, aka Mawawa, the MCA Subukia Ward. On the issue of the degrees, as the IBC is talking about, I would say the IBC is actually talking about what is in the Constitution. If you read the Constitution 2010, it states that the degree it was supposed to start then. It was postponed to 2017. In 2017 it was again changed, and the Constitution reads that for any general election after 2017, the degree is a requirement. I would say, well, the degree is not a measure of leadership. There are some people who are very good leaders, but they do not have degrees. They do not have, even there's Solomon in the Bible, who is known to be a very wise king, did not have a degree. So the degree is not a measure of leadership. However, because the world is competitive and the situations in the world have changed, I think the degree is an important document for anybody to have. And because maybe of also the what we call the salary scales, there are those grades in Kenya. Again, it might be justified by the grades. Otherwise, it is not a measure of leadership. Somebody can be a good leader without a degree, but they can be better leaders if they have education. The education helps us to interpret the different documents that are there in the county assembly and that are there in any area. You are able to read, you are able to understand. And because we are lawmakers, we might need the degree is an important document because it helps somebody to have that level of understanding. But it is not what leadership actually comes from what we call the inborn wisdom. So when it comes to leadership, it may not be the degree might not be the measure. But when it comes now to the situation we are in, the situation of our nation, the situation of what we are doing as lawmakers, then again the degree is very important. So I would say it may not measure the leadership, but it is important to have a degree. We cannot water down education, yet we are advising our children to read. And the first degree in Kenya now is so basic, very, very basic, because many people have moved higher. They have the masters, many of them have the doctorates, others are professors, so we cannot water down education. I would say Chebukati is following the Constitution. He's not doing what he likes. Otherwise, you cannot say somebody cannot be a leader because they don't have a degree. They can be leaders. But when it comes now to interpreting the law, it is important that a degree is very important.
The discourse about the degree, the requirement of the degree for the legislatures and also the members of the members of the county assembly, the MPs and also the senators and governors and the presidents, I believe we are okay about that, because I do believe that if we are vetting professors and doctors, so the minimum requirement for one to be able also to understand them is having the basic education, which nowadays is degree. So I don't believe that it will be good for somebody who do not have, or those persons who do not have papers, to vet educated individuals. In fact, it will cripple the work of the parliamentarians. I want to urge the members who actually they are agitating for that clause to be changed. I don't have a problem with it. It can be changed. That is the work of the legislatures. That is the National Assembly. They can change it. They can repeal that law. But I would wish to say that categorically the work of the members of the county assemblies and the members of the parliament is oversight. And while oversighting, we need somebody who understands what he's doing. Somebody who is who has another level of education. Number two, the work of the legislatures is to formulate laws, which is the legislations. You don't tell me that somebody who do not have even a Form 4 degree or a certificate can be able to legislate some laws. They can be, or rather, they can be able to formulate laws which do not affect the citizens. We'll be actually, by so doing, we'll be saying that let us walk on our head rather than walking on our feet. Therefore, I'm saying the critical role of these members, which is the formulation of laws and budgeting, that is appropriations, it requires somebody who has the degree or has another papers, additional papers, which can assist him to do his work competently without having such kind of things. I have been asking, and I've been asking myself, the work of the judge in the courts is to interpret the laws and to know whether the major is the interpretation of the law. The laws that has been formulated by somebody who never went to a classroom. So I'm saying it beats logic. That's why we should also be entertaining also our kids to go to school. If the legislatures and they are now the readers, they cannot, they do not have papers. Why should the same readers go ahead to put some money for the kids to go to school, and then themselves they don't have they do not see during their time they need to be in classrooms? Therefore, we are saying we really need to be careful while actually fighting that bill or that act, because I don't see any reason as to why we should not be telling our kids to go to school, and we should not be telling our registrars not to have their degrees. The other issue is that we were given a grace period of 5 years. Some people are saying that there was corona. People have been studying online. Therefore, we are saying let the members know that they still have the chance. They can go for crash programs, and so that when we meet onto these assemblies, we can be having people who have Catholic of mind, have the same level of education, so that if the work of oversight can be efficient and people can be able to move together in the same boat. Therefore, I support the act as the way it is currently, and should not be interfered with. It should be the way it is, so that actually we can set the standard of leadership. Other people are arguing that the problem with the Kenyan's leadership is the integrity, not education. But I also believe that that is a work of enforcement, but the work of formulation of the policies that we have, it needs somebody who has a background of education and a standard of education that universally can be acceptable. Because we have seen some problems here. That's why the educated persons, they gain a certain culture. That's why you see nowadays in the county assemblies and the National Assembly, that is, let us benchmark with the National Assembly. You never find the members of the National Assembly fighting or throwing seats to each other. But those nasty things are fine. You can find them here, because these people who come to the assembly, they don't have papers. They are not cultured. The work of the education is modifying the culture of the people, and therefore I believe it's high time for us to stop entertaining such kind of things of saying that degree should not be allowed. I'm saying degree is the way, and let those who have degrees venture into politics, so that we can have a flattened field whereby all things will be moving smoothly. I have heard some members who are saying that they are being discriminated. Why are they not raising alarm when the governors, the requirement for the governor is to have the degree? Why are they not saying that they are being discriminated from vying into those positions? I want to say that Kenyans need to be given the quality and the best of the best, which means somebody must be good in politics, and at the same time must academically, that some person should be well up. That is, so that at least the work of this assembly can move forward.
I agree with both sides of the argument. that sio lazima mtu akuwe na degree ndiye aweze kuwa na ujuzi ya uongozi. But it's also true that somebody anaweza kuwa na ujuzi wa uongozi na bado akuwe na degree. In any job all over there are minimum requirements, and actually it was even proposed that even the legislators should be given a performance contract. Now, this law has been with us for the last 10 years. It has been with us for the last 10 years, and for 10 years you can be my witness that if you start learning for 10 years, you are able to do your secondary school and also graduate with a degree for just 10 years. If you are a Form 4 leaver, you're still able to do your degree, to do your master's, and do your PhD. So people should have known that this is the law. And if you are interested really in leadership, you should have taken the first step to acquire this noble qualification. So it is, for me, I think it is now too late for anybody to start thinking that there can be some miracle that will be done so that they can manipulate this requirement of the Constitution. This thing is embedded in the Constitution. It was passed in the Parliament with even grace period. You see, the Parliament gave a grace period of 10 years, actually, so that somebody else of 5 years from 2017. It was very clear that in 2022, this is going to be a minimum requirement. So it's a sorry state for those who are aspiring and they didn't have minimum qualifications. It's also a sorry state for the existing representatives who don't have the requisite papers. But that's the law. That's how the law works.